Hi, thanks for joining me today. My name is Anna, and today's class is going to be focusing on the back or posterior shoulder. So for many of us, over time, there is sort of a tendency to develop a little bit of this rounding forward in the shoulders. And now what happens is that if we get a little bit of this rounding forward in the shoulders here, the shoulder blades on the back kind of protract or pull away from midline. And then we have that posture and we take it into a yoga class, a movement practice, and we're kind of here in this position, and then we start loading in that position. What happens is that then the movement practice, the yoga class that we're doing, is sort of just reinforcing this position in the shoulders. So today what we're going to be working on is setting the shoulders more in neutral and kind of finding what that feels like, and then strengthening in that position so that we're better able to target today the back of the shoulder and strengthening it kind of a little bit just in that better posture and better positioning. So I would recommend having a block, and we're going to go ahead and start off on your back, taking the block on its lowest setting here. And we're going to lay the shoulder blades on top of the block. So you might have to shimmy around here a little bit. The block is going to be kind of like a bra strap line or like where you would wear a heart rate monitor. And then you can bring your hands behind your head and just start to maybe lean back a little bit. And lift up, leaning back, lifting up, and maybe start to do a little bit of a side-to-side movement. So just taking these first couple of moments while we're getting some opening in the chest and the back, just to start to form that connection to where your shoulder blades are. And so they are these two bones that we want to have a strong connection with the back ribs. So we want them to be able to really slide and glide on the back ribs, but also have a good amount of stability. And so we're going to be working with both of those today. Nice. And then you can go ahead and come up off of your block. Lie down on your back now, and we'll take the block the thinnest or middle width in between your thighs, and we'll set up for a bridge. So you can start with the hands on the thighs, lengthening the lower back, the traction, pushing the hands into the thighs, lengthen the tailbone slightly toward the heels, and then squeezing the glutes to lift the hips up for a low bridge, keeping the length in the low back. And now check in here that the chin is lightly drawing in and we're lengthening the back of the neck. And then feel that we're not popping the ribs up here, but that the two sides of your front ribs are sort of drawing in towards one another. And you can even put your hands on your ribs to feel that a little bit better. And now from here, keeping that slight hugging in of the ribs, we're going to take the elbows down to the floor. And now feel here sort of this opening through the front of the chest. And notice that the fronts of the shoulders aren't kind of pulling up towards each other. Right? So just see if you can get a little bit of space, a little bit of opening across the front of the chest and the shoulders. Feel the shoulder blades softening toward the floor. And now you can make fists here and take a moment, look down at the front of each shoulder and feel like you could just soften it downward. And now with the elbows pushing down into the floor, feel the back of the shoulder light up a little bit there. And then move your fists apart, away from each other. So we're coming into external rotation in your shoulders. And then as the fists move away from each other, See if you can sort of squeeze the muscles there on the back of the shoulder. And then bring the knuckles back up. And then we'll keep doing that. Squeezing the back of the shoulders. And now as you bring the knuckles or the fists apart, notice that the front of the shoulder doesn't pop up and kind of round forward. And bring the fist back. Let's do 3 more of those on your own. Nice work. Awesome. And now let's take the arms, reach them straight up toward the ceiling. The palms can face each other. And then we're just going to start to take the arms up and overhead. But notice here that you're keeping the front ribs hugging in towards center. So we don't want to let them pop forward and arch in the low back. And now as the arms come up overhead, doesn't have to be all the way, just whatever you can manage there. Feel how the shoulder blades slide up toward your ears just a little bit. I should just say they slide up the back ribs. Nice. And then we'll add a little wrist stretch here. So take the right hand to the left fingers and pull back. And then without arching in the back, just see if you can breathe up and out into the ribs. And switch hands. Left hand pulls the right fingers back. Nice work. We just want to talk about what the glutes are doing right now because mine are on fire. Hopefully you feel yours working too. And then from there, slowly lower the arms back down to the floor. And now we'll descend the spine, 1 vertebra at a time. Whew, a lot of work for the glutes. So let's bring your hands behind your head. You can keep the block where it is. Feet are on the floor. And now hug the elbows in, cupping the back of the skull. Take an inhale breath. Exhale, lift up off the shoulder blades. Now look down at your belly. Zip your pubic bone up. Front ribs pull down. Hug the sides of your ribs in towards center like you're kind of closing them off in front. Inhale to lower back down. Exhale, come up off the shoulder blades. Now see if you can lean your head back into your hands a little bit, but then hug together more in the belly, so like you're drawing everything together and hugging it down. So less work in the neck, more work in the abs. Inhale, lower back down. Adding on here, exhale, lift up. Zip the pubic bone up, hug the front ribs together, chin stays in neutral, and then flare the elbows a bit there without lowering down onto the shoulder blades. So really dig deep in the belly, side ribs, hug them in, elbows back through center, inhale to lower. Exhale, lift up. Look down, pubic bone zips up, side ribs hug in, flare the elbows out there without lowering down onto the shoulder blades. Nice. Elbows hug back in. Inhale to lower. All right, adding on again. Exhale, lift up. Turn an inch to the right, keeping the consolidation of hugging the sides of the ribs in. And now just flare the right elbow and hold that right rib cage in even more here, not lowering down onto the right shoulder blade. Elbow back in, come back to center, inhale, lower. Holy moly. Exhale, lift up. Turn an inch to the left. Left elbow flares. Hug the left side rib cage in even more. You got it. Elbow back in through center. Inhale, come back and lower. One more time each side. We got this. Exhale, lift up. Turn an inch to the right. Right elbow flares, staying up off that right shoulder blade. You can even take the left hand, hold the right side rib cage in even more. Back through center, elbows in. Inhale, lower, last one. Exhale, lift. Turn an inch to the left. Left elbow flare, staying up off the left shoulder blade. You can take the right hand to the left ribs, hold them in. Back through center, elbows in. Inhale to lower. Whew. Okay. That was a tough one. Let's come around into a tabletop position here. Okay, so shoulders will be right on top of the wrist, hips right on top of the knees. Now spread your fingers nice and wide, and I want you to imagine that you are almost screwing your hand into the floor, so it's almost like you're kind of dialing it out, but without actually turning the hands. And so it's that action. It's going to give you a little bit more of that external rotation in the shoulder and really secure that joint there. Okay, so fingers are spread nice and wide. Kind of screw the hands into the floor and then hug your shoulder blades down your back. Nice, cool. And then from here, feel, we're gonna do like a little cat-cow, but in the upper back. So feel like you can soften your chest toward the floor a bit, keeping your arms nice and straight. And then push the floor away and lift up in between the shoulder blades. So let's do that one more time. Soften the chest toward the floor a bit. Shoulder blades, feel them kind of hug down. And then push the floor away, lift up in between your shoulder blades. And now come down so that you feel like you're kind of settling your chest toward the floor a bit. Right, so we're not just totally sagging here. Kind of soften the chest, drag the shoulder blades down your back. And so you want to feel almost like this suctioning of the scapula, of the shoulder blades on your back ribs. So hug them down. Chest is softened toward the floor just a bit. Now lift your throat up without jutting the chin forward. We're going to keep that feeling. Knit the front ribs together, step the right foot back without changing anything in the shoulders. Right knee comes down, step the left foot back. Keeping the throat lifted, the shoulder blades hug down. Left knee comes down, right foot steps back, right knee comes down, left foot steps back. Beautiful. Lower the knee here. Let's do one more each side. Right foot. Step the knee down. And left foot. Nice. Left knee comes down. All right. So now from here, lower down onto your forearms. And you want to get the elbows right underneath the shoulders. So you can either stay right here or interlace your fingers if you feel like your elbows are kind of sinking outward. So you can interlace the hands or have the palms down. Now puff up in between your shoulder blades. Tuck your toes under here, and we're gonna pike up in the hips for a dolphin. Now, of course, if you feel like this is just too much or you're having any pain or anything here, you can keep the knees down, lift up in between the shoulder blades. Otherwise, you can bend your knees a little bit, send the hip creases high, and hold those front ribs together. We're going to take a couple more breaths here. Just let your head relax. Strong in the shoulders, pushing the floor away. One more breath. Doing amazing. And then we'll lower the knees and let's sit back for a little child's pose. And you can even try coming onto the outer kind of pinky side of the hand, the outer edge of the hand, lifting the forearms and the armpits away from the floor, and taking some deep breaths into your back. Nice. And then we'll come on up here. We're just going to step to the top of the mat. I'm going to grab a blanket here for a little support for my knees. And then we'll come all the way up to stand at the front. So let's bring the arms forward and up here. Inhale. Feel the shoulder blades lift on the back a bit. As you exhale, hinge and fold, sitting back into the hip creases. Hands come down. Step your right foot back, lower the knee, and come onto the top of your foot here. So squeeze this right glute. The hip is over the knee. Wrap that right glute down. From here, we're just going to do some shoulder rolls. So see if you can emphasize really moving the shoulder blades on your back. So you're kind of gliding them on the back ribs. If it feels a little maybe crackly to start, that's okay. I'm just trying to help them move a little bit better. Nice. And we'll bring the hands down to the floor. Bring the left knee back for tabletop. Now, same thing as before. We're going to screw the hands into the floor there. Soften the chest toward the floor a little bit and hug those shoulder blades down. Right, not collapsing in the ribs or the belly. Lifting the throat up. We're going to step the left foot back and then the right foot back without changing anything in the upper body. Squeeze your glutes, holding the back of the neck nice and long. And then tap the knees down and lift it back up. Downward facing dog. Can walk the feet in a little bit, soften the knees a little, and lift the hips high. Now in your down dog, take your forearms and lift them up away from the floor. So we never want to just drop down and kind of sink back into the shoulders. So hold the forearms up and then lift the front ribs up as well. Nice. Now we're going to step the right foot as far forward as you can. Lower the left knee and come onto the top of the left foot. Same thing here, left hip over the knee. Squeeze that left glute and we'll roll the shoulders. And so just noticing as the shoulder blades are moving on the back, that the ribs can move a little bit as well. But we are holding that pelvis steady. Hands come down, blocks or floor. Step the left foot up next to the right. So hips are back, chest is forward, shoulder blades on the back. Rise to stand. Inhale, arms come forward and up, letting the shoulder blades slide up the back. Ribs are held in. Exhale, hinge and fold at the hips. Spine stays nice and long. Hands come down, left foot steps back this time. Lower the knee and tuck the toes under here. So same thing, left hip over the knee, squeeze the glute. Now take your elbows kind of at your sides here, and the palms will face each other. You can make fists, and notice here that your shoulders are not rolling in, but open the front of the chest here without arching in the back. So hold the ribs in. And then from here, almost like you were moving against resistance, bring the fists apart. And as you do that, feel like these muscles on the back of the shoulder are almost squeezing, they are squeezing, to create that action. And come back to center. Take it out. and back to center. Now you can always look down at your shoulders while you're doing this to make sure you're not getting the shoulder rolling forward. Harder than it looks. And then we'll come back through center, bring the hands down to the floor, and step the right knee back. Okay, so same thing, shoulders over the wrists, screw the hands into the floor, lift the front of the throat up, step the right foot back, step the left foot back, shoulder blades are hugging down on your back, squeeze the glutes. Tap the knees down. Now we're gonna hold this here, bend your elbows just a little bit, but keep the fronts of the shoulders lifted. Just lower a tiny, tiny bit. And straighten your arms. One more time, elbows bend back, but keep drawing the shoulder blades down your back and lifting the fronts of the shoulders. Straighten your arms, downward facing dog. Nice work. Relax your head there. Push the floor away from you, lift the forearms up away from the floor, feel that support in the shoulders, and then push into the hands as we step the left foot forward. Lower the right knee, keep the toes tucked, right hip over the knee, right glute is squeezing. So same thing as before, bring the elbows in, feel the opening across the chest, make fists, and then resist them outward and feel like you can squeeze those muscles. It's almost like right behind your armpit. Come back through center, resist out, shoulders squeeze in. As we come back, we're not letting the front of the shoulder collapse. So we're keeping the shoulder heads kind of in this position as we move in the joint. Nice, one more. And then we'll bring the hands down to the floor, step the right foot up next to the left, send the hips back, chest is open, rise to stand. Okay, so moving on here. Let's come back into a little mini squat. So send the hips back, spine stays nice and long, and then we're gonna step the right foot back for a little tilted crescent here. So squeeze that back glute, push down into the front foot. Now your arms will come down toward the floor, but notice it as you do that you're not just rounding in the back. So the shoulder blades will draw in a little bit. And we're gonna take an inhale breath. As you exhale, pull the elbows up, but notice that as you do this, that the shoulder isn't coming forward. You're pulling the shoulder blades on your back together, and that's what's gonna lift you. And reach the knuckles toward the floor. Shoulder blades pull back, almost like they were gonna come through your body and push into your chest. And reach the knuckles down. Shoulder blades up. So we don't wanna let kind of that humeral head, the upper arm bone, dive forward when the elbows come back. Let's do two more. You can always look at the shoulder as you're doing this. Make sure it's not rolling forward. Nice. And then from here, we're gonna windmill to the back for right side warrior two. So now we're facing the back and the right toes are pointing forward. Take an inhale breath. Exhale, reach up and back, reverse warrior, reaching now from that right shoulder blade as you create more space in that right side waist. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, side angle, right forearm to right thigh. And now reach that left arm from your left shoulder blade, creating more opening, more space in the left ribs. One more time, inhale, warrior two. Exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, side angle. And then from here, we're gonna bring the left hand and the left knee down to the floor. Now take this left shoulder, hug it down away from the ear. You can take the right hand onto the left shoulder blade and feel like you can hug it down and almost imagine you were gripping your back ribs with that shoulder blade. Now keeping that close connection there, rotate your ribs open to the right and you can reach the right arm up toward the ceiling. That left shoulder blade. Hug it down, grip it onto the back ribs, and then you almost feel like you can lean into that left shoulder blade a little bit. Now from here, we're gonna keep the same foundation of that left shoulder blade on the back ribs. The right leg will reach back for modified side plank. I'm gonna take my right hand to my hip. If this feels like too much, kickstand your left shin back a little bit. But we're really gripping the back ribs with that left shoulder blade, the left glute, the bottom hip is driving forward, and the ribs are held in. If you feel so inclined, you can lift that back foot up off the floor. One more breath. And then look down at the left hand. We're gonna step the right foot up in line with it, tuck the back toes under, and open up for a goddess squat facing the long edge of your mat. Awesome. So play around with the positioning of the feet. Do what feels best for you. And then bring your arms into a goalpost. So notice here that as my arms come into goalpost, not splaying the ribs, hold the ribs in without kind of rounding in your back. Okay. And then from here, we're gonna pulse the shoulder blades. So feel how the shoulder blades on your back are coming in, squeezing there, and releasing. Now, if this feels like too much on your shoulders, you can lower your arms here. And do the same thing just with your elbows lower. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're gonna turn to face the front of the mat. Plant the hands, downward facing dog. In your down dog, go ahead, lower your knees. Hands are under the shoulders. Straight, strong arms. Screw your hands into the floor. Hug the shoulder blades down and really grip them on the back ribs. Step the right foot back. Step the left foot back. Tap the knees down. Keep the throat lifted up. Bend your elbows a little bit. You can look at the shoulder heads. Make sure they aren't diving forward. Straighten your arms. This time bend the elbows a little bit. Fronts of the shoulders stay lifted as you lower all the way to the floor. Beautiful. So you can bring your forehead to the floor here. Reach your arms back. Push the bottom of your pubic bone into the floor and feel your glutes squeeze and wrap down. Now from here, we're going to draw the shoulder blades together, and that's going to lift the shoulders. And then you can lift the chest a bit as well here. But feel the work as the shoulder blades squeeze together on your back. And lower that back down. Let's do that one more time. Shoulder blades draw together and lift. Keeping the chin from jutting forward there. And lower back down. Hands can come underneath the shoulders. Tuck your toes. Screw the hands into the floor. Here we're going to keep the knees down. Fronts of the shoulders lift up. Shoulder blades together on your back. And lift back up, plank on your knees. Downward facing dog. Nice work. This stuff is not easy. Simple, but very challenging. Take an inhale breath. Exhale, let it go. And then we'll start to walk your feet forward toward your hands. pulling the thigh bones up to step you forward. And we'll rise all the way up to stand. We got one more side. Let's do it. We're gonna sit back into the hip creases a bit here. Hips are back, spine is long. Let's step the left foot back this time. Squeeze that back glute. And the arms come down so the fists, you make fists and then they are reaching toward the floor. Notice here that we're not rounding in the back. Draw the shoulder blades together a little bit. And then we're going to row the elbows up. Notice that the fronts of the shoulders are lifted as you squeeze the shoulder blades together on your back. And the knuckles come down. Shoulder blades together. That's what's gonna lift the arms. And down. 3 more here. You can take a little peek at the shoulder heads. Notice how they aren't tipping forward when the elbows come up. Last one. And then we'll hold it here. Turn to face the back of the mat, warrior 2 with the left toes facing forward. Arms reach forward and back, inhale. Exhale, reverse your warrior. Reaching that left arm longer from the shoulder blade. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, side angle, left forearm to the thigh, right arm reaches. Reach the arm from the shoulder blade. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, reverse. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, side angle. Now we'll bring the right hand and the right knee down to the floor. With that right hand, you can screw the hand into the floor. Hug this right shoulder blade back. You can put a hand on that left or on that right shoulder blade. Secure it onto the back ribs there as you rotate in the ribs. Maybe the arm comes up. So same thing here. We don't want that right shoulder rolling in. Keep it rolled back and secure that scapula, that shoulder blade onto the back. From here, we're gonna hold the shape, but reach the left leg back. You can kickstand that right knee a little bit if you need. And then if you want to, you can take the left leg and reach it up. Grip the back ribs with that right shoulder blade. You're strong there, and that shoulder blade will support you. Trust it. One more breath. Now look down at the right hand. We're gonna step the left foot up in line with it. Tuck the back toes. Turn to face the long edge of the mat for your goddess squat. So same thing here. You can bring the arms into a goalpost or lower the elbows a little bit. Now just think about the shoulder blades pulsing together and relax. Pulse, relax. Keep going there. We're not arching in the back. Keeping the front of the throat pulled back. It's amazing work for the shoulders. Last 2. And then from here, we're going to turn to face the front of the mat, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Exhale it out. One more time, inhale. And exhale. Lower your knees. And we'll spread the fingers nice and wide. Screw the hands into the floor, shoulder blades back, front ribs in. Left foot steps back, right foot steps back. Tap the knees as you bend the elbows. We're not dropping forward in the shoulder heads. Straighten your arms. We're going all the way this time. Bend the elbows, fronts of the shoulders stay lifted, shoulder blades drag down your back. Slow lower. So challenging. So this time we're gonna switch it up a little bit. Can bring your arms into a goalpost here. Forehead is on the floor. Now pushing down into the bottom of the pubic bone, squeeze the glutes, and then see if you can lift the arms up right here, drawing the shoulder blades together. So we're working against gravity now. It's a little bit more challenging. And lower back down. Let's do that again. Drag the shoulder blades together, hover the arms. Maybe this time you lift the head and the chest a bit. And lower back down. Let's make a nice little pillow with your forearms, and you can bend your knees. Just windshield wiper the legs a bit side to side. And then you can let your legs come back down to the floor. Hands come underneath the shoulders. Spread the fingers. Dial the hands into the floor. Shoulder blades roll back. Tuck the toes. Lift back up. And we're just going to come into a tabletop here. So let's take the right hand, right arm, reach it up toward the ceiling. We'll thread the right arm underneath the left and come down onto the right side of your face. Now, if that's too much, you can just stay up a little bit higher here. But if you're on the side of your head there, note that we're not putting much weight into the neck. The weight is really on the shoulder. And then if you like, you can almost think about dragging the right arm, the right shoulder, back a little bit. Sometimes that can feel like a really nice stretch around that shoulder blade. Deep breaths there. And then we'll just switch sides there. So right hand will come to the floor. Open up the ribs, left arm reaches up, and we'll thread the left arm underneath the right. You can come down onto the side of your face there, or just stay up a little bit higher. And then if it would feel nice, you can start to kind of drag that left shoulder blade back, or the left shoulder back a little bit, and just feel that nice stretch around the shoulder blade. Not putting much weight on your head at all. Couple more deep breaths. Nice and easy. Push into that bottom hand. Come on up, and then we will roll around onto your back. And so set yourself up in any position that feels easy, whether that be with your knees bent and the feet on the floor or your legs straight. So we've done quite a bit of work today. So just letting that effort and that work be in the past. Now letting yourself just totally drop into the support of your mat. Just feeling this openness and this spaciousness in your chest. Strength and that power around the backs of your shoulders. Just knowing that they've got you, knowing that that strength and that support is there for you when you need it. Letting yourself rest in that. Let your next inhale be a little bit deeper, and your exhale a little bit slower. Just begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And when you're ready, just begin to roll over to your side. And eventually pushing yourself all the way up into a comfortable seat. And take a moment and just notice maybe a little bit more awareness around this area of the back of the shoulders. Just letting that be something that sticks with you as you head into the rest of your day, into the rest of your week, and so that we can move with more strength, more ease, more courage, and more confidence. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I know that was a little bit of a tough one, but you got through it. Amazing job. As always, please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe so you are not missing new classes that get posted, and share with anyone who you think might benefit. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you next time.